So, of course, the Atlanta Falcons have won in Week 11, and man, it has been a pretty horrendous last 2 weeks for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, of course, last week didn't do a video, took a little hiatus, if you would say, took a little break. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Of course, I'm way late on that. However, I'm going to get into this Atlanta Falcons video and their game in Week 11 and things they could go to in the future and their overall performance for this game. But of course, before I get right into this video, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on that notification bell. You guys help me out a little bit. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, of course, the Atlanta Falcons, after a horrible 2-game skid, and when I say horrible, I mean absolutely terrible. I mean only scoring 3 points in the last 2 games, kind of terrible. The Atlanta Falcons managed to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 21-14. Now, of course, we're going to start off with Matt Ryan, the quarterback, the center, the main guy. He still had a cold performance and did not play a perfect game. He went 19 for 29 for 190 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception. Like I said, not a perfect game, not an incredible game. However, it was still good enough for the Atlanta Falcons to win. Now, of course, going down to the running game, the Atlanta Falcons rushing game was surprisingly absolutely great. It was amazing, and impact player Cordell Patterson had a lot to do coming off of that ankle injury. He had a lot to do with the overall rushing success for the Atlanta Falcons this game. He ran for 108 yards on 16 carries and even scored 2 rushing touchdowns during the Atlanta Falcons win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Falcons as a unit ran for 149 total yards, which is really good for the Atlanta Falcons. Man, the Atlanta Falcons did absolutely great. I'm really glad that our rushing game has taken a step up during this time. Of course, we've had really cold performances rushing. There have been times where the Atlanta Falcons rushing game has been completely non-existent. And to see this going on, to see this team able to run the ball, to see Cordell Patterson be that impact player that we know he is and be that talented player that we know he is, it's very great to see as an Atlanta Falcons fan. I'm really glad. It's really liberating, a sort of deep breath in and a sort of breath out, seeing the Atlanta Falcons being able to dominate the rushing game as they did today. Now on to the receiving game. Just like Matt Ryan's performance, it was not impressive, but it was good enough for the win. Now, Russell Gage was the main guy today, 6 receptions for 62 yards and even caught 1 touchdown. The impact player of the game, Cordell Patterson, also got in on a little bit of the receiving game. He had 27 receiving yards, well over 100 total yards on the day. Once again, Cordell Patterson played an absolutely amazing game. However, going down to our rookie report, you know the guy I talk about every week. Come on now. Kyle Pitts. Now, of course, while being one of the best tight ends in the NFL as a rookie already, which, mind you, is really impressive, it's still clear that Kyle Pitts is still adjusting to the NFL, the playbook, and even still trying to find his role on the Atlanta Falcons as not only a tight end, but even as an outside wide receiver, in which he's been at that position for most of the last couple of weeks. Kyle Pitts is lined up on the outside a lot. He's lined up on the inside. So I believe the Atlanta Falcons are figuring out how and where they're going to use Kyle Pitts going into the future and as of right now. Now, of course, Pitts did not have an amazing game. He was held to 2 receptions for 26 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like he's simply still trying to adjust. Of course, the last 2 to 3 weeks for Kyle Pitts have been pretty tough. Teams are now zeroing in on him. He's now that main guy that everyone can zero in on, and that makes it 2 times harder for a tight end in the league. Might make it 10 times harder for a rookie tight end in the league. But, man, when teams can zero in on you like that, and when you're the main guy, it gets really tough, especially in your rookie season. So I believe Kyle Pitts is still trying to figure it out. Now, going further into the offense, we have to talk about the Atlanta Falcons offensive line, and they had a better day than expected. The last 2 weeks, the offensive line has been a complete disaster. It has been terrible to watch, and this was a pretty good comeback for them. They only allowed 1 sack, only allowed 2 tackles for loss, and only allowed 1 QB hit, which, I mean, that Jacksonville Jaguars unit as a whole on offense and defense may not be that impressive. However, I feel like the Jaguars have a very respectable defensive unit, especially when it comes in their linebackers and defensive line. When they blitz you, they can cause some pressure. And for the Atlanta Falcons offensive line to be able to stand there, to be able to keep their ground, to be able to keep guys off of Matt Ryan for pretty much most of the game, I find that really liberating. I find that really good that the Atlanta Falcons offensive line was able to stay steady today. I'm really impressed with the offensive line's performance. Again, not perfect, but good enough to win. Now, for the defense. And the Atlanta Falcons defense played a pretty decent game. It wasn't that bad. Of course, the yardage is a little bit of something you have to work on, but ATL's defense did force 2 turnovers, which was really, really good. However, it was somewhat alarming, as I said, that they allowed 369 yards to one of the worst offensive teams in the entirety of the NFL. Of course, that's something that can be fixed. That's something that needs to be fixed. However, forcing 2 turnovers, is something really, really positive for this Atlanta Falcons defense. It's telling me that this defense is not giving up yet. This defense is still hungry. They're still a very, very good, or potentially very, very good defensive unit. I'm really, really glad Atlanta made a huge impact on the defensive side of the ball, forcing 2 turnovers, one of which was an interception and the other one of which was a fumble. Now, of course, the Jags are fairly weaker in the receiving game. I feel like that is something you have to say. However, the Atlanta Falcons coverage did fairly good. Only one receiver got over 50 yards. Of course, the Jaguars, they were able to run around a little bit. However, overall, the Atlanta Falcons coverage has gotten better. So, as I'm seeing this game, I'm seeing this as a step in the right direction. The Falcon season is nowhere near over. They're still within the playoff little mix. They're still within the hunt. I'm going to get more into that later. However, that's what I have to say for right now. Now, of course, going into the defensive line, the Atlanta Falcons did have 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. So again, a very decent and steady performance for this Atlanta Falcons defensive line, and really as a whole unit. I feel like the Atlanta Falcons did absolutely great. Now, here's the part that really worried me. Late into this game, the Atlanta Falcons nearly let it slip away. The Jaguars had all the momentum in the 4th quarter. The Jaguars really had all the momentum in the second half. So this could have very well gone a whole different way for the Atlanta Falcons. This could have very well been really, really bad. However, the Atlanta Falcons were able to stick through. They were able to get the win. And honestly, as I said earlier in this video, the Falcons are still well in the playoff race. They still have a very decent record. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect team. However, when looking at the grand scheme of things, the Atlanta Falcons, while it may be a little bit slim, judging from how the team is performing right now, you can make the assumption that the Atlanta Falcons could definitely make a run for their money going into the playoffs this year. I feel like the Atlanta Falcons can challenge some teams. I feel like they are not a bad team. However, they're not a perfect team, but definitely far from a bad team. I feel like the Falcons can definitely be a very, very good team heading into the playoffs this year. Now, going into next week, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a great opportunity for Atlanta, but if I'm being honest, I don't see us winning this game at all. The Buccaneers are one of the best teams in the entire league. They are led by one of the best defenses in the league, an elite defense, an elite offensive arsenal, and of course, the best quarterback of all time by a guy by the name of Tom Brady. So this team is really, really hard to beat. Now, earlier in the season, the Atlanta Falcons did manage to score nearly 30 points on this team, so you can watch out for that offense. They could potentially have a big day against a Tampa Bay defense that is elite. However, they found it a little bit hard to figure out this year. Of course, the Falcons are now 5-6 on the season. I feel like the Buccaneers can give us a huge challenge. I mean, they will. They're the Buccaneers. They scored over 40 points against us earlier this season. I feel like if the Atlanta Falcons defense has a great game, and if their offense has a good game, and if Kyle Pitts has a good game, then I think we have a small chance of winning this game. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see the Atlanta Falcons winning this game. But 5-6 is a very decent record. This is no time to give up, Falcons fans. I feel like our team is more than capable of making the playoffs this year. I feel like we have some hope. I feel like we are a better team than what our record says. And ultimately, I have hope in the Falcons. I still have faith. It seems like we're torn between rebuilding and contending, which is a very bad thing. However, I feel like the Falcons can definitely contend this year if they put their minds to it. I think everyone's still figuring it out. And ultimately, I have the Falcons maybe losing this game next week. But even then, we are still in the hunt for the playoffs, which is always a positive. But, of course, that's going to be the end of this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Links in the description. TikTok, Spotify, Instagrams, and more. All those links will be in the description. Of course, click on those. Follow those. Help me out a little bit. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. But, of course, whether you follow me or not, I wish that you stay loved and stay blessed. And without further ado, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.